Hello and welcome to this edition of Ritter's Rant. Today's word of the day is insanity, or we can use a form of the word insane. And this needs to be applied to anybody who honestly believes that Donald Trump is going to provide the Ukrainian government with Tomahawk cruise missiles. I mean, this is the big story right now. We have Keith Kellogg out there saying, yes, this is going to happen. He, of course, is Donald Trump's special envoy to Ukraine. You know, Keith Kellogg, the guy that went to Ukraine on Ukrainian Independence Day and was awarded with, one of Ukraine's top orders. A man who is totally in the pocket of Ukraine, doesn't think, in realistic manner about the Ukrainian conflict. His job is simply to promote more war for Ukraine. Probably because his daughter makes a lot of money off this war, but that's another issue altogether. Kellogg thinks this is going to happen. J.D. Vance is implied, according to Keith Kellogg, that this is going to happen, but that's not what J.D. Vance said. What J.D. Vance said is that the Ukrainian government has made a number of requests to the United States, to President Trump, including Tomahawks, and that Trump will consider all of these requests. That doesn't mean that we're going to make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, let me make it clear. The Tomahawk missile is an intermediate ranged, nuclear capable missile. It has strategic capabilities. And the United States simply will not provide Ukraine, a nation that is in active armed conflicts against Russia, a nuclear armed nation, with American made strategic nuclear capable systems. It's insanity to think that this could possibly happen. First of all, this is inherently destabilizing. It's a total violation of the Missile Technology Control Regime. It would be one of the most gross violations of ballistic missile proliferation imaginable. It would be destabilizing regionally and globally, and with 100% certainty, and I'll make this statement one more time, with 100% certainty, it would lead to a nuclear war between Russia and the United States, because Russia simply can't allow the United States to provide an intermediate range missile capable of striking Moscow with nuclear weapons to Ukraine, a nation that is, as I said before, actively engaged in armed conflict and has shown a suicidal tendency to seek to escalate a conflict that it is losing in every way, shape, or form. The Tomahawk uses three kinds of guidance systems: a terrain following guidance system, Terracom. It uses GPS guidance system, and then it uses this close-in mapping guidance system that allows for last-minute adjustments to the target. Ukraine has no ability to target a Tomahawk system independently, which means that the targeting would be done by the United States. That means that the United States would be targeting Russia. Again, let me point this out to you so it's very clear. The United States would be targeting Russia, so it could be struck with American Tomahawk missiles that are nuclear capable, but apparently the trigger would be pushed by the Ukrainians, although the trigger couldn't be pushed by the Ukrainians because the system itself can't be fired without access to highly classified technologies that only the United States or its closest allies, and Ukraine is not a close ally of the United States, possess. For instance, the British possess this capability. They fire the Tomahawk on occasion, but Ukraine doesn't and never will, and therefore Ukraine will never have these weapons. This is just part of the overall the misreading of the situation by much of the world today. You see, people looked at President Trump meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky and President Trump saying, hey, go ahead and you go right ahead and take back your borders to 1991. Hey, and while you're at it, why not just march on Moscow? You guys got this. And Zelensky was smiling ear to ear saying, this is great. The president's doing, he's on our side. But then the president said, but all we're going to do is allow NATO to buy weapons from us. We're not giving weapons to NATO. We're not giving any weapons to Ukraine. NATO can buy weapons from us, and then NATO can decide what they want to do with those weapons, whether they want to sell them to Ukraine or not. Left unsaid was the fact that the United States has placed replenishing American stockpiles above everybody else. So even if NATO buys a weapon, they're not getting it for 2 or 3 years, which means Ukraine won't be getting it for 2 or 3 years, which means there won't be Ukraine by the time Ukraine wants to get it in 2 or 3 years. And the realization is sunk home that Donald Trump has washed his hands of Ukraine, that Donald Trump is finished underwriting the Ukraine conflict. None other than Clay Collis, the head of the foreign ministry or the foreign ministry equivalent of Europe, recognizes, where she says Trump has effectively abandoned Ukraine and left the Ukrainian problem to Europe and Europe alone, and Europe doesn't have the resources to take care of this problem. So for all the people out there thinking this war is going in one direction, understand it's not. It's going in the complete opposite direction. Nothing good will happen to Ukraine because of this war. Only disaster, only the termination of Ukraine, only more dead Ukrainians, only the destruction of a nation state, all because of insanity, like thinking Ukraine was going to be given American-made Tomahawk missiles to begin with. Well, that's my rant. The next time a thought crosses my mind, I'll be sure to let you know. Thanks.